Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the To Be Men podcast, where we come together as men to challenge one another, to hold each other accountable, and to help each other become better husbands, better brothers, better fathers, better men. Today's episode looks a little different for both for you guys and for me. This won't be, kind of a discussion type where we go through a subject or a theme. This episode is going to be about life lessons. You know, this last week I turned 34. Which I know you guys are looking at me and you're thinking, there's no way that guy's any younger than 40, but I am 34 years old this Wednesday. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this was definitely the hardest birthday I've ever had. We've got some stuff going on at home, and Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025 is probably gonna be the hardest day of my life for a long time. And in that pain and in that suffering, as we all know, right, there's always lessons, there's always something to learn in that. And so as I was journaling the next day, kind of putting my thoughts together, trying to figure out what's the lesson here, or what can I learn from this. I couldn't pinpoint anything, but I started thinking of all the other lessons I've learned in life, and all of the other times I've had pain or suffering be a great teacher or me, a reluctant student. And so I wanted to sit down with y'all today and share just that 34 lessons I've learned in 34 years. And look, some of these are simple lessons, like, don't spend more than you make. That's a pretty simple lesson that we should all learn, hopefully sooner rather than later. But some of these are a little bit deeper, a little bit more profound. Some of these were learned and taught through pain and suffering. Others were, learned through experience, and others were learned from other teachers and other mentors and other people. And so I hope that as I go through this list, you find something that resonates with you, something that stands out to you, a lesson that perhaps you can apply to your life and learn sooner rather than later, right? I'm almost halfway through my 30s, not quite midlife, but getting there. And so I'm trying to share as much as I can with guys that are younger than me, that are, maybe not as far along in their life as I am, or perhaps lessons that they can avoid and pitfalls that they can avoid that I fell into. Again, because that's what we do here at To Be Men. We want to elevate and help other men go further, farther, faster. And so, hopefully when I'm 40, I can do this again, or maybe every single year, and learn something new every single year and share that with you guys. But these are some things that as I look back in my life, I'm like, man, I wish I knew this at 18 or at 20 or at 25 or gosh, even at 30 in some of these cases. So I hope you can apply them. I hope they stand out to you. And like I said, there's no really rhyme or reason to these. There's no particular order. I'm sure we could probably go through and group them into sections or, elements of life, which actually I might do that for my sake more so than for y'all. But I wanted to go through and share these. And of course, I've got these written down because I'm not going to remember all 34. And as always, full focus planner. Love this thing. So let's start early, right? Let's start at number 1, which is that start early, invest wisely. Man, our finances are such a big part of our life, and yet not many people talk about that. Not very many people share with us what to do, what not to do, how to spend, how to save, how to invest. And so that's a lesson that I learned much later in life, and later than I wish I had. And so I started investing later, I started saving later, I started spending my money wisely much later in life than I could have and should have had I started earlier and had I been wise with my funds. And so, nowadays I always recommend people use the 70-20-10 method for saving, spending, and investing your money, right? Live off the 70%, invest and save 20%, and give at 10%. But whichever method works for you, make sure you start early and invest wisely. Number 2 is one that I learned a long time ago from the great Jocko Willink, which is discipline equals freedom, right? Discipline equals freedom. We've talked about this on this podcast before, that when we have structure and order in our lives, then we have the freedom to do the things that we want to do or live the life that we want to live, because there are barriers and boundaries that keep us down the right path and keep us aligned to the goal that we have in life. So discipline equals freedom, right? In our bodies, in our minds, in our hearts, in our finances, like we just talked about, discipline equals freedom. Number 3 is one that I'm learning now still in my mid-30s, and that's fitness is foundational. Fitness is foundational. Again, physical fitness, mental fitness, spiritual fitness, all of that is the foundation of what we built. If we're not strong, if we're not healthy, if we don't take care of our bodies, we're never going to make it. And now, I'm halfway through my 30s almost, and I'm starting to realize that this body is not, one, permanent, and two, as strong as it once was, which, if I'm frankly honest with you, I'm ashamed of that, because that means I didn't steward it well, I didn't care for it well, and so now I want it to be even stronger than it's ever been. But that takes, again, discipline, structure, that takes grit. And so I'm learning, how do I get stronger? How do I get better? How do I turn this body into the machine that it can be to better serve the people around me, my wife, my children, my community? As some of you guys know, I just had back surgery, 2 months ago. I'm 34 years old now. What am I doing having back surgery? Why? Because I didn't take care of my body, because I didn't move the right way and train the right way and carry the right way, and all of those things that we kind of take for granted when we're young, and then as we get older, they catch up to us. And so I want to make sure you grab this lesson. Fitness is foundational. Number 4, be a lifelong learner. Be a lifelong learner. Never give up learning. Never give up the desire to learn more from, whether it's books, podcasts, teachers, mentors, friends. Always, always, always be seeking more knowledge, more wisdom, so that you can grow and you can be better. This is something that I've learned and applied over many years of my life. I continually want to be a learner. I had an old friend of mine, and he said, the moment you say, I've arrived, I have nothing left to learn, is the moment you grow stagnant. This was a piano teacher, and that's what he told me as I was learning piano. The moment you think, I've learned it all, I've arrived, that's the moment you stop growing, and you might as well give up. And that same lesson has applied to so many areas of my life. The moment I gave up, the moment I said, I have arrived, I've learned everything I need to learn, I might as well have quit. I grew stagnant and I didn't grow beyond that point. And so never give up learning. Always be a lifelong learner. Number 5, master some high value skills, whether that's communication, leadership, AI nowadays, all of these things that you can learn and you can apply to yourself that will make you stand above and beyond the competition, let's say it that way, or those around you, that will help you learn more, grow more, earn more, be better by learning and mastering those high value skills. For you, they could be different than for me, but make sure you're always, again, learning and growing. Number 6, this is a great one. Find and follow mentors. Find and follow mentors, right? Just like I'm trying to share with y'all lessons that I've learned in my 34 years. There's men that have shared lessons they've learned in 50 years, 70 years, 80 years with me. And those men I cherish, and I'm grateful for them, and I take literally everything they say. I take it almost as true as gospel. Why? Because they've walked life for much longer than I have. They've made mistakes that I haven't made yet, hopefully never will. They've lived life in a way that I want to be like them. I want to grow and become like those men. And so when they say, hey, avoid this, avoid that, do this, do that, I'm like, yeah, let me write that down and let me apply that, because you obviously know what you're talking about, because you've either A, arrived to the place I want to be, or B, you've never made it. And I want to make sure that I don't follow that same path. So please make sure you're finding and following mentors. Number 7, this is a good one. You are fully responsible for you. You are fully responsible for you. This is another great lesson from the great Jocko Willink, right? Extreme ownership. If something goes wrong, it's my fault. Even if there's no way it can be my fault, and I have no idea how it's my fault, it's my fault. And I'm owning it, and I'm responsible for the way I respond, react, and move out of that situation. This is one that in this season of life, I'm learning more, and I'm understanding more, and I'm kind of enjoying more, right? Because there's something freeing about it, saying, you know what? No one's coming to save me. No one's coming to give me the winning lottery ticket. Nobody's coming to, hey, your great uncle died and left you this huge inheritance. It's not going to happen. And so everything that I have and everything that I want to have and everything that I want to achieve relies on me, and it depends on me. And there is some weight to that. Of course, it's like, man, that's a big deal, because if I fail, that means it's on me. But if I succeed, it's because I put in the work. So number 7, you are fully responsible for you. Number 8, fail more and learn faster. I know that's not a lesson that I thought I would want to learn and want to keep, and yet it's one that I keep learning over and over again because I keep failing and I keep learning, because failure is the greatest teacher any of us could ever have. Nobody learns success, right? And nobody actually makes it immediately. You have to fail to succeed. You have to fail. You have to fall time and time again to finally realize, what do I need to stop doing to stop falling? Stop failing. And the faster you learn that, the less, hopefully, you fail. And so that's a lesson for us. Fail more, learn faster. Number 9, work harder and smarter. We always hear the saying, right? Work smarter, not harder. And that's great in a lot of cases, but I've learned that to really stand out, you not only have to be the smartest worker, you have to be the hardest worker. And you have to learn to both work hard, both physically, mentally, emotionally, in all of these areas of life, but you also work smarter. Don't do things the hard way just because it's the hard way. Find an easier way, a smarter way to do it, but do it with everything you've got. Work harder, work smarter. Number 10, time is your most precious resource. As I'm getting close to, midlife again, not there. I still got probably, 6 more years before I get my midlife crisis. But the older I get, the more I realize that time is the greatest resource any of us have. It's the only thing that we can never get more of. It's the only thing that once we use it, it's gone. And so many of us waste it, whether on our phones, whether on social media, whether in relationships that are going nowhere, and in jobs that are going nowhere, chasing things that don't matter. We waste so much of our time living lives that at the end of the day have no true value because we haven't sought anything of true value. And then we think, well, I can make it up later. Man, I remember my mom used to tell me this all the time. Back when we were going to church, she used to say, well, I'm still going to church, but when we were going to church as a family, she would always used to say, God's not going to wait for you to be like, all right, it's the last second. Now I'm ready to give my life to God. You got to give it now and live your life for God instead of living a life of chaos and debauchery. And then at the last minute say, okay, I'm ready. Because you never know when that last minute's going to be. And that stuck with me, not just in my walk with the Lord, but just in life in general. So I've learned to value my time and realize that it is the greatest resource any of us have. Number 11, choose your spouse wisely. Choose your spouse wisely. This is for all the single guys, single gals that are watching. Man, I promise you, no other decision is going to affect your finances, your spiritual life, your emotional life, your future than the person that you choose to marry. That can either make your life or break your life. And Lord, I have been blessed to have chosen the greatest wife for my sake. It's because of my wife that I have what I have, that I am who I am, that I've lived the life that I'm proud of, and that I can say this is a good life because of my wife. And so after you get nothing from this, get this. Choose your spouse carefully. Make sure it's somebody who shares your values, who shares your ambitions, who has enough differences that they can see your weaknesses and cover them, and you can see their weaknesses and cover them, and you guys coexist and co-work alongside each other, and you revolve in your roles well, and you do your job as a man and she fulfills her roles as a woman, and you guys just ebb and flow and raise beautiful families that serve God and serve the community and make a difference in the world. That is the greatest gift any one of us can have. So please choose your spouse wisely. Number 12, write your vision and live your mission. Write your vision and live your mission. Man, I talk about this all the time with young men on different podcasts, even in my journaling. I'm like, vision and mission are not just for companies and for church boards and for all of it. No, you and I need to have a vision and a mission to accomplish in our life. Because when we have that purpose, when we have that drive, we can go and we can live a life worth living. And we can make a difference, not only in our own life, but in the lives of those around us. So please write your vision and live your mission. Number 13, build systems and routines that serve you. Systems and routines don't sound great. They don't sound sexy. They sound kind of boring, and yet they make all the difference in how you live your life. Whether it's your morning routine, the way that you wake up and start your day and get flowing, whether it's the systems that you have in place about this is how I get my work done, this is how I live my life, whatever you do, there's so many other videos out there of people sharing their routines, morning, evening routines, family routines, quarter routines, annual. My wife and I did a start your year, walk through the year plan at the beginning of the year that we shared with you guys, and that works for us. Find whatever serves you. Take everything that you see and everything that you learn and strip it down to what is best going to serve you. Because again, you're not living somebody else's life, you're living your life. So don't do somebody else's routines, don't live somebody else's systems and methods. Find the ones that work for you and make them serve you. It's like Jesus said, man wasn't made for the Sabbath was made for man. We're not slaves to our systems are there to serve us. So find the systems and routines that best serve you. Number 14, use credit. Don't let it use you. This is one that, again, if I could go back and talk to 18-year-old Jonathan, I would slap across it, be like, what are you doing getting a Macy's credit card? You don't even shop at Macy's. And yet there I was making bad decisions because I was like, I've got the money, but oh, you're going to give me free money. And that haunted me for years. And I had to work to get it back to a place where I could finally start using credit wisely to make wise purchases and decisions that would better affect my life and my home. But if I hadn't learned that sooner, it would have made a world of a difference. So use credit wisely. Number 15, buy real estate. I know this one's easier said than done. I know this is one that maybe you can't do right away, but man, when you can get in, get in. Again, we started our real estate journey a little bit later, both in our marriage and in our lives. I wish I had started as soon as we got married, but between moving in the army and moving states and all that stuff, we just didn't. But I tell people all the time, man, the sooner you can get into the real estate game, the better, because there's no more land being made, right? What we have is what we have. And so you can get onto that and either hold it and sell it down the road or develop it or whatever the case is, buy real estate. Number 16, start a side hustle. This one goes hand in hand with buying real estate, right? Your 9 to 5 is great. And it's a wonderful blessing that we all have, that we get to work and live in a country that we have that luxury of work, because work really is a luxury. Having the ability to go out and provide for your family through your effort, that's great. But we can't be relying solely on the 9 to 5. We have to learn to become independent and learn to rely truly on ourselves and build something for ourselves. It's something that we're still doing now and a lesson that we're learning now, but one that I think is pertinent to all of us in our day-to-day. Learn and start a side hustle. Number 17, serve others intentionally. Man, I think this is one of those impactful lessons that we learn as we get older, that we realize, hey, it's not really all about me. It's not all about what I want and what I want to do and what better serves me. It's at the end of the day, how can I serve others? How can I make others' life better? How can I make them have a better day, a better experience, a better life? Really, that's what it means to be a man. Men weren't made to take. We were made to give. And so when we learn to serve others intentionally, wholeheartedly, with everything that we have, we truly learn what it means to walk in the purpose of being a man. So learn to serve others intentionally. Number 18, be a better friend. Be a better friend, right? We're talking about being better men. Part of that is being a better friend. You want to know what it's like to be a man, to feel alone, to feel like you're carrying the weight of the weight of the world on your shoulders, that you can't share with anybody. You can't talk. You can't show weakness or vulnerability with anybody. You all know that feeling. And so why would we not help each other? If I know that you're struggling and you know that I'm struggling, we're both going to be like, oh, we're doing good. How does that serve anybody? It doesn't. So let's learn to be better friends, better brothers, better men. Number 19, choose hobbies that build you. I'm still learning this one, right? My hobbies are a little sporadic. I love to shoot guns. That one kind of builds me. I also like to golf. That one's a waste of time and money. So I'm still learning this one, and it's one that hopefully I'll dwindle down in the next couple of years. But choose hobbies that don't just entertain you and take your time. Choose hobbies that build you. I heard a pastor once say, as a man, you get one hobby, right? Especially once you've got children, you're married, you get one hobby. She'll choose it well. And so I'm trying to hone in on that. What is that one hobby? Whether it's hunting, if it's golf, it's golf. Mine's not going to be golf. Hopefully it's something that edifies you, whether it's reading, hunting, backpacking trips with your friends, whatever it is. Find something that builds and edifies you and do that one thing well. Number 20, challenge and train your mind. Challenge and train your mind. Man, y'all know I love to read. I've got a bunch of my books here. I got a bunch of my books on my Amazon card that I need to get ordered now that Prime days are coming around the corner. I love to read. I love to take in podcasts. I love to take other videos. I love to just challenge and train my mind, just like we train our bodies, just like we equip and feed our bodies, whether it's, good hopefully, protein and good carbs, good fats, and we work out and we build all the muscle. We have to do the same thing with our minds. We have to read. We have to challenge ourselves. We have to learn to think critically and exercise and grow our minds. Number 21, control your emotions. Don't suppress them. Man, this is another one of those that I've learned through pain and through struggle. For the longest time, I suppressed any sort of fear, anger, sadness, anything like that. I was just push it down, deal with it later, until later eventually came and they just all surfaced and almost got to a point of boiling over and ruining a lot of things in life. And so I'm still learning. I'm still talking with other men and working through with mentors on how do I control those emotions, not they control me. How do I control them in a way that they're useful, or at least that they're processed well, and then I can keep moving forward. So control your emotions, don't suppress them. Number 22, stand firm in your convictions. Man, this world changes its mind on what's right and what's wrong almost daily. Opinions and mindsets are like the wind blowing one way or the other. You and I have to be men of conviction, where we stand firm on what we believe, on what we know is right. And we just say, this is it. On this hill, I'm dying. What's that for you? I don't know. Those are your convictions to fight and find. But on mine, I'm standing firm on those convictions. 23, get comfortable in the uncomfortable. So I think this is one that we've all learned at one point or another, whether you're uncomfortable trying to talk to somebody, you're in an awkward conversation, you have to tell somebody some bad news and you just don't know how to do it. You got to get comfortable in the uncomfortable, because at the end of the day, this world will always throw uncomfortable curveballs at us. And we need to know how to not just bob and weave, but also how to stand and take it and say, hey, this is going to be hard for both of us, but we got to do it. So get comfortable in the uncomfortable. Number 24, live life at your pace. This is another lesson that is near and dear to me. These are all near and dear to me, right? They're my lessons. But number 24, live life at your pace. Man, I can't tell you how many times I compared myself, especially in my late 20s and early 30s, compared myself to men in their 40s and 50s and say, man, I want what they have, which is great, right? We should desire, we should have ambition, but I wanted it now. I was ashamed in some cases, and I was angry that I hadn't achieved the things they had achieved, that I hadn't grown the business, I hadn't grown the following or the family or the wealth or whatever like they had. And my wife constantly reminded me, she said, Jonathan, those guys are 50, you're 29, 30. What are you doing comparing yourself? You got 20 years to get there. And I'm like, I want to be there now. And I missed out on so many opportunities and so much just joy because I kept comparing myself to people that were decades ahead of me. Until eventually I learned, hey, this is my life. This is what I have. This is what I can grow. I have to learn to just live it at my pace, the race that I was set to run, not their race, not their stuff, mine. And when I did that, man, the peace that I was able to accomplish and have and just say, man, I'm content with what I've grown. I'm not fully satisfied, right? I'm still striving and I'm still ambitious for more, but I'm content. And that made all the difference for me. So number 24, live life at your pace. Number 25, see the world and expand your view. As you guys know, man, we love to travel. We've been all over this world. Thank God for that opportunity. And we've seen extreme poverty and extreme wealth. We've seen extreme hunger. We've seen extreme chaos and violence and government overreach. I mean, all the things that you see everywhere else except for here in America. And I think a lot of our worldview and a lot of our love for people and our care for people and our compassion for people comes from being out of our country. Because here it's so easy to hate your neighbor because they have different opinions. Because at the end of the day, you're not really fighting each other. You're not really suffering because of them, right? Versus in other places, you're like, I can't really hate my neighbor because we're both struggling hard to just make ends meet, to just provide a food for our kids. We don't even know where that's going to come, to get clean water. And so, man, I'm not worried about your politics. I'm not worried about your opinion. I'm not worried about all this other stuff that really doesn't matter, because you and I have to go and work together to make sure our village gets some water. Man, when you see that, it becomes easier to disagree with people and say, yeah, you know what? I don't believe what you believe. At the end of the day, as long as you're not causing me any harm, go ahead, live your life. So see the world, expand your view. Number 26, stay away from destructive vices. Man, this is a great lesson for any young man. This is one that I wish somebody had told, honestly, 14-year-old Jonathan and 18-year-old Jonathan and young me. Stay away from destructive vices. And man, we all know what that is, whether it's alcohol or pornography or gambling or smoke, whatever destructive vice that you're currently flirting with, and you're like, I've got it under control. Stay away, man. Stay away. The Bible doesn't say, hey, face temptation, see how much you can take. The Bible says run from temptation. Why? Because you can't face it on your own, and it will destroy you. So that vice that you're flirting with, you're saying, it's all right. It's just one more drink. I just like the buzz, or I got control, or it's one more video or one more cigarette, man. It will destroy you. It will make you feel like you're broken and irreparable and undeserving of anything. So please stay away from all those destructive vices. Number 27, keep your childlike wonder alive. Man, keep joy in your heart. Maturity and joy are not opposites. They go together. I think so many of us think that once I mature, I can't have fun. I can't have joy. Man, laugh loud, dream big, be a child. We're all kids anyways. We're just kids in big grown-up bodies. And I think a lot of us forget that we got to a point of adulthood and we just stopped dreaming about, one day being an astronaut or a cowboy or going and seeing cool waterfalls and going out on adventures in the mountain. Man, do that. Go on the adventure. Go ride a horse. Be a cowboy for a day. Man, do whatever it is, but laugh loud, dream big, and keep that joy alive in your heart. Number 28, value your family above anything else. This one became clear as day the moment I had children. The moment I had kids, I was like, there's nothing more important than this family unit. Whatever I have to do, whoever I have to fight, whatever mountain I have to climb, I will make sure that this unit is cared for, provided for, protected, and secure. And there's nothing that I value more in life than these three girls, my wife and my two girls. Man, value your family, protect them, provide for them, keep them secure, keep them safe, because there's nothing greater in life than your family. Number 29. This is a good one too. Forgive your parents. They tried their best. Another lesson that I learned once I became a father. I became a father and I realized I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm kind of playing it by ear and going day by day. And I became a dad at 30. My dad became a dad at 24. And I'm like, man, if I was a dad at 24, I would have zero clue what to do. And I would probably scream. And I would probably disappear into my work, and I would probably go and do something because I don't know. And so things that I, used to resent my father and my mother for, I'm like, man, they were working their tail off to provide for me, to make sure we had a roof and food and clothes. And I was an ungrateful little brat. And I said, oh, I hate you because I can't go to a baseball. That's so stupid when you think about that stuff. Man, forgive your parents. A lot of us hold on to this anger and grudge and we kind of keep it at arm's length. Let it go. Let it go. Love your mom, love your dad, hug them, kiss them while you've got them. Tell them how much you appreciate what they did for you and move on. Because again, they were doing their best and they love you. Because as a dad, I know I'm trying my best and I love my girls more than anything. So yeah, forgive your parents. They were doing their best. All right, let's round them out. Number 30, don't walk away from God. This is sometimes easier said than done, right? I think a lot of us have resentment towards God or indifference towards God, or, we think he's kind of up and far away and not really caring about what we're doing. And yet the more I grow, the more I learn, the more I realize he's right here. He's right next to us. He's with us. He's for us. He's just waiting for us to come home. You all know, hopefully, the story of the prodigal son. If you don't, quick recap is a father has two sons and one of them says, hey, you know what? I'm not waiting for you to die to get my inheritance. I want it now. And the father gives him the inheritance, and the son goes and he squanders it and he wastes it all until he's just literally eating out of a pig's trough, because that's all he can do. And in that moment, he realizes, I'm here eating food with pigs while my father has plenty at home. Let me just go back and beg him to let me be a servant. Not even return as a son, let me be a servant. And on his way home, His father, who's been waiting for him day after day, sees him in the distance and runs out to him and embraces him and hugs him and loves him and restores to him his place as a rightful son. And man, so many of us are that prodigal son who have left God, and we've just gone away and squandered his blessings and his favor and his goodness. And he's just going up to the top of the hill, looking out, waiting for us to just run back so that he can embrace us, not as servants, not as workers, but as sons, restored to our full adoption and inheritance with him. And so if you are far away from God and you've ran from him, I'm telling you, it's not too late. He's right there ready for you to turn back and say, God, I'm sorry. I don't want to walk away from you. That's this conversation I had with him recently. I was like, Lord, I don't understand the things that are happening, and I'm hurt by them. And I don't know where you are in this, but I know that you're a good father, and that when it doesn't all make sense, you still have it under control. So don't walk away from God. And if you have, come back. He's waiting for you. Number 31, have an eternal perspective. Y'all listen, life is short, right? Even if we live 80, 90, 100 years, life is short, but legacy lasts forever. Man, and that's something that I've been seeking and searching after a lot in these past years, legacy. And so I started thinking about, man, forget my life and forget what I do in this life. How can I impact eternity in the greatest way? And of course, for me, I want to share the gospel with my children, with my neighbors, with my friends, with their children, with their neighbors, with their friends. I want to make sure that everybody hears the good news of Jesus, because that is the only impact I can have in eternity. And I can make sure that those people don't spend their eternity far away from God, and that instead they're close to him, where they belong to be and they deserve to be because of what Jesus did. And so make sure you have an eternal perspective. Don't focus so much on the here and now, but focus on the then and there. Number 32, pain redefines and refines purpose. Yeah, pain refines your purpose like nothing else can. It really strips away things that are fluff, the things that are extra, the things that you thought mattered. But then when you're in that pit, you realize none of it matters except for these two things. And pain refines like nothing else. And it also redefines. When you go through pain and struggles and hurt, you realize what I thought was important, what I thought mattered, that's not really what matters. This is what I need to chase after, whatever that is for you. And I hope you learn that before you have to go through pain. But honestly, you probably won't, because there is no greater teacher than pain. And I can warn you and prepare you, but until you walk through that pain and it refines and redefines who you are, that's when you truly realize what is your purpose and what are you claimed and called to do. Number 33, strength oftentimes looks like compassion. I used to be, one of those guys that says, you got to be a hard leader. People follow a hard leader or a rough leader, and I was proud of that, right? I was like, man, I'm rough around the edges. I'm blunt. I just tell it how it is, and I own that. Until finally, I had a leader tell me, somebody that I respect and look up to. He said, "Bro, you're leading well, but hard." He said, "You're leading with your mind, and your heart is nowhere to be found. But learn to lead both with your mind and your heart. Learn to lead with compassion, with tenderness, with vulnerability when it's needed, and learn to stretch out the arm of just peace, because some fights just aren't worth fighting. Lead people well with love and compassion." And lastly, number 34, this is a lesson from this year. Legacy is not what you leave, it's what you build. And I don't know, I'm still kind of working through that one and seeing how do I apply it. But I think a lot of times I've thought of legacy as, when I'm gone, this is what's being enjoyed, and what I left behind and what I built, that's my legacy. But in reality, my legacy is how I live my day to day. What did I do when I was hurt? What did I do when I was down? What did I do when I was in pain? What did I do when the people around me were suffering? What did I do when the lost were lost and I knew the way and I never shared it with them? That's the legacy. What I'm doing here and now, what I'm living out, that's my legacy. Not what I'm building, not what somebody else will enjoy one day, but what I'm doing right now, in this moment, in this place where I have been brought to and I feel called to? What am I doing in this moment? That is my legacy. And so, guys, man, I hope one of these lessons stood out to you. I hope multiple of these lessons stood out to you. I hope you learned these from my experience versus having to walk through them in some cases. Right? What have you learned? What have you walked through? What lessons do you have that you're saying, hey, what about, share them, put them in the comments, send them in a message. I want to know what you guys have walked through. What are you guys learning? What lessons have impacted and shifted and changed and transformed your life? And which one of these do you think you'll apply now that you've heard them? You say, hey, you know what? I never thought about that, or I wasn't doing that. Man, let me know. I'd love to connect with you guys and hear that. So that's the episode, y'all. I hope you have a great night. I'll see you next time.